Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. There are a lot of moving parts here, but we're trying to do something big on the James Lawrence Allcott channel, and we are very, very fortunate because we have some very talented people that will be representing all four clubs, all four Premier League clubs that are in the draw today, the Champions League draw, and we've got ourselves four experts from four of the big leagues, the Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga and La Liga. Shall we meet them all? Fingers crossed this is going to work. Pray for us. And if this does work, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and crucially, make sure you check out absolutely everyone from this stream because they're all wonderful, wonderful people who are doing me a massive favour on what is quite a nerve-wracking day, I would imagine, for several of them. Right, let's go to the four clubs first and foremost, and then we'll move on to the leagues. Let's see if this works. Here we go. Right, so we have Alex Hurst from the True Faith podcast. We have James from Citizen Wayne. We have Tariq Talks from Tariq Talks Football, of course, who's an Arsenal fan. And Double A of the Narrative fame. And of course, he's got his own channel as well. All here today, all feeling pretty good, I would imagine. And I'm going to start off with Alex. Alex, how are you, my friend? How are you feeling? And did you expect to be sat here waiting for your team to get called out just, I don't know, what, 6 months ago? When did you start believing that today could even be a reality?
Yeah, I think the World Cup break last year when we went into it in third place was a real eye-opener. Like, wow, we've done nearly half a Premier League season. We're better than 17 other clubs. Champions League's a reality. Yeah, it just feels unbelievable. It's been 20 years, James, since Newcastle have had anything like this at all. Just the whole city's on edge, the whole region. It's brilliant.
Really? So, and yeah, how are you set up for the next few, weeks and months? Because is it going to be a massive change to your lifestyle?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, I really hope we don't play any teams that go down to 10 men because look what happens. That's a disaster. So if we could avoid that, we might be okay. But yeah, I mean, literally, you guys will be able to help me because I don't know when the dates get announced. I need to get on Jet2 and flight scanner and all that kind of stuff and work out where I'm going over these next few weeks. I mean, it's been a decade since any European football at all. So yeah, new territory. Can't wait though.
Okay, so we're going to find out everyone's sort of dream group and nightmare group when it comes to you guys at some stage. But let's work our way through. And hopefully, guys, you were hearing me in one ear, but hopefully it should be nice and perfect now. If it is, then make sure you let me know in the chat. Everyone should sound wonderful. James, Citizen Wayne, brand new channel. Links in the description. Go check him out. Of Football Daily fame. Moonlighting for me today. This is a very different moment for you. You're you're old hand at this. You're used to all this. So you come in as the defending champions. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's very weird. I'm still in that kind of mental state where I still find it amazing that we're even in the Champions League. And to be champions and treble winners still just sounds bizarre to me. I think we're just, in an extremely fortunate position, have been for so many years. And it's just another, like when you were saying before, like, what's your dream combination of, what's your dream group? And I'm in the fortunate position to say anyone, like it is, Man City are in that position. So it's just another season of being at the top, which is, still blessed to be here, really.
Yeah. I mean, that's good that you can kind of stay in that kind of grateful state. Because I'd imagine, you've got to be, there's the gluttonies. It knows no ends. I saw your Twitter account earlier today. Was it the quintuple starts?
Quintuple. Obviously, I'm only joshing with that. I did put a bet on last season for the quadruple and was actually at the Southampton game when we got beat, and that was taken away from me. So, you never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, quintuple's on.
Nathan Jones doing his thing, wasn't he? When it came to saving, I guess, the whole of the season. I'm gonna jump across. We'll get to Tariq. We're gonna get to you, of course, mate, because what a day it is for you guys. You've been, listening to that Europa League tune for far too long. But I saw you shaking your head, Double A. How are you feeling about? It's actually a good day for you as well. But what I think is fascinating about you four is the difference in kind of expectations, like moving into this Champions League campaign. How are you feeling about Man City and how are you feeling about today?
It's nice to have something to look forward to at this club at the moment. That's the best thing. That's all I can say about Manchester United. As you can see, we're kind of in the mud at the minute. So having something to look forward to and that could be taken away straight away, depending on who we get drawn out against. But terms of Manchester City, I mean, it's just ever never ending, and worse and worse each time. They're just breaking every single record we seem to be putting up. So, you know, they could be going for 4 in a row in terms of the league, which we've never done. So they could jump ahead of us in that. But I mean, you know, today we all start on the same foot, don't we? So it doesn't matter if they won it last year. That means nothing now. So, you know, I'm not bragging about the Carling Cup. I'm not bragging about the Carabao. So, you know, we leave last season where it is. That's all I'd say on that one.
Okay. So that's the deal. Is that right? That James, you're okay with that? You're happy with it? So as long as he doesn't talk about the League Cup, you're willing to not talk about the treble?
Yeah, I'll happily take that trade. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Wow. God, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would be doing that myself. Let's quickly go.
I would have done that.
Yeah. Let's go through the pots here, because I think this is interesting, actually. And I've got, because the stream's on currently, so I've got my face there, and I'm going to take my face off for a second. Should be safe for it. But in terms of the sort of the rules for all of it, and actually there's pairings as well, which is quite an interesting one as well, actually. Let me just go to the procedure, which actually is down on this right-hand side, so we can just work our way through it. So Champions League, it's in Monaco right now. Sadly, none of us got an invite to it. Number of clubs involved, 32. Number of matches, 96. There's 32 clubs into 8 groups of 4 teams. The groups will be lettered A to H. The conditions to be observed are as follows. Clubs from the same country must not be drawn in the same group. There's also actually a second thing in terms of pairings, which is quite interesting when it comes to the situation here, because I think it's Arsenal and Newcastle, and then the 2 Manchester clubs are not able to play on the same day, so that will affect the draw as well. Each team will play 3 matches on Tuesdays, 3 on Wednesdays. The draw is underway now in terms of the stream, which is exciting. First pot comprises of the title holders, the Europa League title holders, which I think is important here when people are talking about their dream groups, because Sevilla are in that, and of course finished 12th in their league, but did what they always do, which is win the Europa League. And then the domestic champions of Spain, Italy, Germany, France, Portugal, and the Netherlands. The other 3 pots are composed in accordance with the club coefficient. Let's make our way. I'll show you the different pots in just a second. Actually, we've kind of got them here, so I can kind of show you them briefly. But I want to introduce our second page of amazing people for our panel today, and that is our experts from our 4 leagues, which obviously it's not all about the English teams here. Aaron joins us. Aaron is our French expert today. Aaron, how are you feeling? And how are you feeling about PSG? There's a lot to talk about, and actually a lot more optimism than I expected there to be about PSG this season. How are you feeling about that?
First of all, I'm great, thank you. And there's a lot of optimism in Paris that, you know, PSG can reach the final again. Obviously, they reached it in 2020 when they lost to Bayern. There's been a lot of drama around the club, to say the least, in the past few years. But I think for the first time in a very long time, the fans are very optimistic about PSG potentially having a good run and maybe, who knows, reach the final again.
I've got some people's names in the wrong order here, so I'm just going to move them about and put it in the correct place, because for a second, Manuel thought he was Rory, and I'm not sure he needs that right now. Sorry, Aaron. Let's keep talking about the other teams that we have in France as well, because there isn't that much conversation about them, because it always does seem to be about PSG. In terms of teams that could really hurt, you know, some of our fan sides, the English sides this year, teams like Lens, teams like PSG. What's happening with Lens? Talk to me about them, because they've had a big signing in Eli Wahi, who scored 19 goals from an XG of 12.2 for Montpellier last season. Are you expecting much from Lens this season?
I'm not going to say I'm expecting much from them, but I expect them to create a few surprises, depending on who they play against. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit worried because, you know, they lost 2 of their best players in Seko Fofana, who ended up going to Saudi Arabia. He was instrumental in them qualifying for the Champions League. He was their captain actually last season, and their top goal scorer in the guy who went to Leipzig. His name just escaped my head for a minute.
Lois Openda. What a man! Man who's got you covered. Don't worry, mate. We're all here together. This is it. This is beautiful.
There we go. Yeah,
Carry on.
They just lost 2 of their. They just lost 2 of their best players in Fofana and Openda. And I was a bit worried. Thought, okay, who are they going to bring in to replace the goals, and who are are they going to bring in to replace the physicality, the drive, the leadership of Fofana, who was, like I said, very instrumental, if not the most important player, even ahead of Openda. But yeah, like you mentioned, James, they brought in Wahi, whose stats look really good at Montpellier last season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Lens play in the Champions League. They played against Man.
And this is where it all goes wrong. Aaron's disappeared for a second there, but I'm sure it'll be okay. We'll move on to Manu. Manu, let's talk about the German sides. We've got the pots here, and actually just Lens there we were talking about in pot 4, which actually when I was looking at pot 4 and pot 3, I'm not sure it's kind of up for grabs in terms of which pot is harder. I think it's a really interesting Champions League this year. I was listening to your podcast, Gegenpressing podcast today, actually, and I found it really interesting what you were saying about Union Berlin. Talk to me about them as a bit of a dark horse here, because I'm not sure if it was yourself or your co-host, it might have been Stefan, was saying that the thing that we need to stop expecting is for them to be unexpectedly good. They are just a very good side. Talk to me about them, because obviously it's very likely one of the English sides could get them.
Yeah, I mean they're an interesting club altogether, right? Because of the way they have constructed their squad. They have sort of upset the apple cart every single season they've been in the Bundesliga. Every year they've been better. I'm not sure how they're going to top qualifying for the Champions League. I guess the only way you top that is winning the title, and I wouldn't put that beyond that them either. They have a really interesting transfer strategy in that they just sign as many players as possible and just hope that they work out. And if they don't, they just move them on. It's kind of like Nottingham Forest, just that it works. And, it's the way they play too. They've scored 8 goals this year and have an XG of 3.5. Last year they did the same thing, that they completely outperformed the XG. They're sort of, redefining the way we look at analytics when it comes to teams in general, because it's just kind of weird the way they play, but it really, really works. And look, they're now at the stage where they sign internationals. They signed Robin Gosens from Inter Milan. He's a German international, right? Today the news is that they're signing Bonucci. Another
really? I hadn't seen
yes,
that.
they're signing Bonucci.
Wow.
So they are a club that thinks unconventional, but they because they are in Berlin, they are able to attract some really big names. So it's a really, really interesting club. I think a lot of people at first glance will say, "Oh, great, we got Union Berlin," not realizing that they got Union Berlin, right? And what kind of damage they can do and what kind of damage they have done, especially to the big teams in Germany. We went through it on the podcast this week. I think they haven't lost this year at home, right? And that includes them playing Dortmund and Bayern. So it's a really, really interesting club, and I think they can do quite a bit of damage in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think again another team in pot 4, and you look at Galatasaray in there as well. Obviously, a few teams made their way in from last night, qualifying those final qualifiers. Antwerp, one of those as well. Let's keep moving. Manu, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to chatting about the other guys as well. Obviously, Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, obviously being a part of this. And I know Tariq will probably not want to see him in the group stage as an Arsenal fan. Ruri, let's talk about La Liga. And often there's a focus on those top 2 sides. Let's start off with Real Madrid, because obviously Jude Bellingham stepping into the fray. You've got this really exciting little diamond midfield. He's kind of playing almost like a striker now. How are you feeling about Real Madrid as they look to evolve from what they were? Obviously winning it 2 seasons ago, but Benzema moving out, some fresh blood being in there. What's the feeling around Real Madrid so far?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one to really kind of put your finger on Real Madrid this season, because if you look at the recipe that was their success in the Champions League 2 years ago, Thibaut Courtois and Karim Benzema were basically the kind of sustenance that they survived on. Courtois, ACL injury, out for most of the season. Militao, their best defender, another ACL, and Benzema's obviously gone. But on the other hand, you do have Jude Bellingham coming in and kind of putting in these kind of magic performances after just arriving. They look overall like a better team, but perhaps a less effective team as well. So I think what the fascinating thing about this Real Madrid side is, and kind of about all of Spain sides right now, is that we're not really sure if they're better or worse than they were last season, because there's so many moving parts. And currently, it looks like they're going into the season without a striker. So, can you win a league? Can you win a Champions League without a striker? Well, we're about to find out.
Yes, unless there is time. There is time. It could be,
There is time.
We never bloody know this Mbappe fella, but it looks like that one might have kind of might have made its peace with that for now. We will talk about, of course, Barcelona, Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, who I have to ask you about their last game because I'm so confused by it. So we'll get to that, I'm sure, in due course. Danny, who stepped in last minute, absolute hero. I was panicking on Twitter and I was just asking anyone I could find. And fortunately, that makes you sound like you're not important, Danny, but you are important. You're crucial. Okay. How are you feeling about the Serie A sides? I think there was a lot of talk about this renaissance of Serie A last season with two teams in the semi-final. Fiorentina, of course, in the final as well. Roma in a final. Going into the tournament this year, it feels like Serie A has never been more competitive than it is this year. How do you think that will affect the Champions League this year?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot was made of the fact that Italian teams lost every single final going. I do think a lot of last season was a bit down to luck in the Champions League. Like all three teams that made it through the group stages went onto the same side of the draw, which kind of inflated things. Juventus got knocked out by Benfica and got beat by Maccabi Haifa, and they were really, really poor. I think Inter have maybe improved and rounded out the squad a bit. I think Milan definitely have. They've flipped Tonali for a much deeper squad with a lot of firepower, and even Pulisic is looking very strong to start the season. And Sarri ball is always very, very entertaining if the results haven't been there yet. And with both those, Milan and Lazio in pot 3, that's a real slippy tie for someone in pot 1. Like, they're not nice places to go, especially the San Siro. And then, yeah, Napoli. I think a lot's been made of Rudy Garcia being the manager, but going forward, they're just going to be as good as anyone. It's the defence that kind of worries me with them, but yeah, Osimhen is an absolute killer and has already started the season like one. So all the Italian teams are kind of at a good level, and I think they're teams to avoid for other clubs for sure, all of them, even if Lazio have lost their first 2 games of the season after I backed them to maybe make a title push.
Right. Sadly, I think Aaron might have popped out and popped in, which has affected everyone's position now, which is heartbreaking, I've got to be honest. And now someone else has come back in. So what? Jesus Christ! So I might have to move this all about in just a second. We'll find out. Let's see if Aaron's back in now. I think so. Everyone's names are a little bit wrong. Oh, he's back in, and everyone's in the right place. Wow, what drama! Amazing, Aaron. I beg you, just stay where you are now. Don't come out, mate. I need you there. Stay exactly where you are because I'm getting heartburn. I'm gonna have a breakdown in a second. Okay, Aaron, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, yeah.
Okay, Aaron, just stay where we are. We've got a little version of your face. That is more than enough, and your voice is lovely. So we're all good, okay? Just stay exactly where you are. Let's go through some possible dream scenarios for the teams that are in it when it comes to the Premier League, because I'm sure the draw will be starting pretty soon. Oh, and I'm going to get in trouble now with that because I've got that there. Let's get that off. Let's go back to the club. So, Alex from the True Faith podcast, give me your dream scenario when it comes to what you would like from this draw tonight, this evening.
First things first, most important, where can you fly to from Newcastle? Because there ain't many places on that list, unfortunately. And I could do without there are enough trips to Premier League clubs in London without having to go to Heathrow or whatever to get abroad. But I think it's been so long since we've been in this position. I think people are dreaming of one of those big names. There's so many massive clubs in this competition that it doesn't just have to be a Real Madrid. As you've just been talking about, even there are massive teams in pot 3, there are massive teams in pot 4. So I think that most Newcastle fans, not all, yes, everyone wants a quote-unquote easy group, if such a thing exists for a team like Newcastle. But just to play in some of those famous old stadiums at a place like Napoli, at a place like the Bernabeu would just be absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, as big a team as possible for me.
Is it? Oh, it's one of those. So you're sort of like, this year's a sort of not a write-off, but it's like a let's just experience it, like as it's a vibe season. Would you? Is that fair?
No.
Or do you want to win it? Is it happening? You're going to win it?
Yeah, now we'll beat them. But
Okay.
I don't know if we'll win it, but yeah, the thing about an Eddie Howe side is they don't fear anybody. They're going to press everyone that comes to James's Park. There's going to be no defensive performances. So if you're going to go for it, you may as well play the best out there.
Okay. Oh, I think we've got ourselves. We've kicked off. I apologise. So that we have started already. So we've got Group A has Bayern in it. We're starting to make our way through it already now. This is crazy. So it's coming up on my screen now. Sevilla in Group B. So when we're talking about dreams, I was saying with Newcastle, the dream for Newcastle supposedly is Feyenoord, Porto, Copenhagen, Newcastle. That's the dream. The nightmare's Bayern Munich, which is Group A, Real Madrid, AC Milan, and then, of course, yourselves. But again, look, surely you want Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, AC Milan. You're not afraid of that, are you, Alex? You're not afraid at all. So you'll be keeping an eye on Group A and Group B. Group C has its first entrant, which is Napoli. Group D was on its way. Joe Cole stepping up for this. Actually, Danny, I'll come to you. Napoli, is that a team that the Premier League sides would want or they want to avoid?
Definitely want to avoid. I think they have got maybe a little bit weaker, especially in defence with losing Kim Min-jae to Bayern. And then his replacement was a young centre-back from Bragantino in Brazil. The Sao Paulo, or the Diego Armando Maradona, as it's now called, and Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia. You're not wanting to go there away. It's not a nice place.
Yes, as I think Liverpool found out last year, didn't they? So Group D is Benfica, who have lost a couple of players, were pretty impressive last year. They have to sort of deal with the dominance generally of their own league and then stepping into the Champions League where they often don't have as much possession. Group E is Feyenoord. So Group E and Group B are probably the weakest at the moment when it comes to the English sides and where they might go. Group F is Paris Saint-Germain. There's going to be 8 groups, of course, that are sort of making their way out. Joe Cole doing a fantastic job next to Claudio Ranieri's doppelganger. Of course, the two worked together at Chelsea Football Club way back when. Manchester City, the champions. Group G. James, how you feeling? Group G, what a dream.
What a letter. Yeah, can't complain. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to say, really.
And I'm not sure there is much you can say, to be honest, at this stage. Amazing stuff. And Group H, which should be, unless we have a rerun of when it all went wrong. That's right, Joe. Well done. Group H is Barcelona, who, of course, won La Liga. Rory, let me come to you when it comes to Barcelona. How are we feeling about them this year? Some weird results. A 2-0 victory, both games dominating them, but then the second one 4-3. Should we be wary of Barcelona? Are they Champions League contenders this year?
Yeah, listen, I mean, if they get it right, Barcelona are going to be a handful for anyone. But the problem that Xavi Hernandez has found frequently at Barcelona is that he's never quite found that balance. So either it's too defensive and they go for lots of control, they play 4 midfielders, and it's basically about keeping this team solid, but they don't really create too many chances in that sense. Or they go kind of gung-ho, they put a lot of forwards on, play free forwards, really go after teams, but then they get into these kind of back and forth games, which is what we saw against kind of Inter Milan last season, drew 3-3 at Camp Nou, couldn't get the result at San Siro. And that's where Barcelona always seem to kind of come unstuck. So that's what Xavi has to do. He has to find a balance and work out if he can make this Barcelona work as a kind of equilibrium.
Well done, Rory. Do you want the drama of this? Guys, look, we're trying our best here, and everyone is here right now, and internet can hurt at times. So if you could do me a favour and hit the like button on the stream, and if you're not subscribed, I would much appreciate it. And of course, again, head to the description, check out everyone's links. Everyone here is a creator. Everyone here is a journalist. Everyone here is an expert. So please check everyone out. Pot 2. Thank you for that, Rory. Appreciate it. Real Madrid, we spoke about them briefly. We've got Man United, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Atletico Madrid, RB Leipzig, so 2 German sides in this pot, Porto and Arsenal. Manu, I'll probably come to you in a second, unless it's Arsenal or Man United, because I'm intrigued to hear about these 2 sides in terms of Dortmund and Leipzig, because Dortmund haven't started the best. And right on cue, come on, Allcott. There's Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund make way. Talk to me about Dortmund, Manu, because it's not feeling good right now, is it, when it comes to Dortmund?
No, it's not. But they've been busy today. Bella Kotschap is coming as an additional centre back. Niklas Füllkrug is being signed as well.
Yep.
He is sort of a backup for Sebastian Haller.
Yeah.
Because Sebastian Haller will be at the Africa Cup, right, in the early spring or winter, I guess. But yeah, you're right. I mean, their start hasn't been smooth. I was actually with Borussia Dortmund at the training camp in the United States, embedded with the club and traveled with them, and it's odd because I had a really positive feeling from that. I felt that the players were really up for it. They really wanted to right the wrongs from last year. You know, that heartbreak on match day 34 where the title got snagged away from them in the last minute because they only drew minds, and all the players that I talked to said, well, we want to make the wrong right, and but the start has been so sluggish, and that's what hurt them last year as well, right? They started really poorly in the Bundesliga campaign.
Manu, can I come back to you, mate? Because Arsenal have just been drawn. We'll come back to you. I want to hear more about Borussia Dortmund.
Go for it.
Tariq, my friend, here we go. This is it, mate. This is it. This is just the beginning, my friend. So, okay, what letter would you like? Who do you want to go to?
Me personally, I actually want Bayern Munich because I feel.
Ooh.
Why?
What?
Double-digit loss for you at the Allianz.
Oh, it's a double-digit loss. You heard it first from Manu. Group B, that is Sevilla. Yeah, I think deep down that's who you really wanted, wasn't it? Come on.
Yeah, in terms of finishing top of the group, Sevilla, that's the team because we've seen what they've done in the Champions League. They usually drop down into the Europa League and usually win that competition there. So that one definitely increase our chances in making it out the group and potentially finishing top, which will help you for Arsenal with a lot of inexperienced players who have in terms of the Champions League level, but a young side who are very enthusiastic and ambitious, what we've seen from them. But the reason why I wanted to go for Bayern Munich quickly is because I want Arsenal and these young group of players to be playing in so many more big games. We saw in the occasions when we came up against Manchester City, the occasion kind of got to the better of us in those days. I want us to get used to that. And I think that's what the manager would want also, so we can mature and really be as top contenders for these type of competitions, like the Champions League and the Premier League as well.
Interesting. That's yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I really think Arsenal could do something this year in the Champions League. I've got a sort of funny feeling about that one. I feel like the league might be a bit too much, but the Champions League, there's no reason why not with the quality that you've got. Atletico Madrid have come out, and they are in Group E. Manchester United, we'll come to you, Rory, in a second, but Manchester United have just been drawn. Aaron, here we go. Who do you want?
Me? I didn't want Sevilla, that's for sure. So I'm glad they
didn't want Sevilla, right? Yeah, because you always get Sevilla, don't you?
We're absolutely terrible against Sevilla. So I mean, it's one of them. I think going into it, I think we are here for vibes. We're the Newcastle. We're just here for the vibes at the moment.
Really, you're taking the foot off your throat there. That's interesting.
Have you seen us play this season? I think we're here just to be here.
Double A. Here we go. You are in the same group. I said it to you briefly before we started the stream. Is it shades of 99? Sadly, you can't get Barcelona, but you've got Bayern. Wow. Initial reaction to that, Aaron. What are you saying?
Kane's not scoring in sketches, so it's all right. I'm happy with that. You know what I mean?
He seems to be scoring in sketches.
Yeah, but when he comes against the big boys, Harry Maguire back in this team, he's not getting past him, is he? So I'll take that. I mean, it's that old adage, innit? You've got to play the big teams at some point, and United and Bayern is a top class draw. No matter how bad they are, how bad we are, or how good the both teams are, I think being able to be back in the Champions League, it's really weird to say for Manchester United, but it's good after missing out last year. And It's not the greatest.
It's not the greatest. Come on. I mean, this is madness. We've got Tariq saying he wants Bayern Munich and not Sevilla when he gets Sevilla. We've got Double A saying he doesn't want Sevilla and he gets Bayern Munich. Absolute madness. This is
At least Double A is realistic.
Yes. RB Leipzig have come out. Just quickly, James, I want your reaction. There's a lot of shade that gets thrown on Man City in terms of getting easy draws. I'll come to you as well, Manu, in a second. But initial reaction of getting Leipzig as the second team in your group? James?
Yeah, pretty happy with that one. We had them a few years ago, I think.
Did you have them last year in the knockouts? You beat them pretty convincingly, right?
Yeah, in the knockouts, but we had them in the group 2 years ago, and both kind of convincing wins. And as long as Nkunku's left now, so we haven't got someone absolutely tearing us apart. So yeah, pretty happy with that one.
Okay, Manu, RB Leipzig against Man City. You're pretty impressed with Leipzig? You feel like they've got the depth to do something this year?
Yeah, they're better than last year. A lot better. Openda looks like a real deal. Xavi Simons is a fantastic player for them. They have depth. They have 2 full squads that can probably, and they're a title contender in the Bundesliga. They are a lot better than last year, and I think they can do some damage here.
Okay, Danny Olmo's started on fire as well. Really,
yeah, he's been insanely good.
Yeah. Let's keep this is fast-paced stuff, guys. So let's just stay on top of it. Real Madrid have made their way out of pot 2. How on earth are they in pot 2? I'm sure they're fuming about that. And where are they going to make their way? This is interesting stuff as it's happening live, people. If you're enjoying yourself, make sure you hit the like button. Group C, Rory, up against Napoli. Danny, who wins that game? Rory thinks it's Real Madrid, I'd imagine, but we're not totally certain. Is this Napoli side going to pump them? Who's going to top that group out of those two?
I think Real Madrid often just defy odds, so Napoli could see themselves finishing top in that group. I think Real Madrid going to Naples, I see them getting beat there, to be honest with you, in that environment, just with how good Napoli are going forward.
Okay. Lost Kim Min-jae, though, of course, is a big loss for them. But Osimhen looks pretty deadly so far this season as well. So group of deaths are forming. Easy groups are forming. Let's quickly run through it. We'll go backwards. Group H, Barcelona and Porto in that one. Man City and Leipzig. Group F, Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund. Group E is Feyenoord and Atletico Madrid, who I really have to ask you about that last game. I'm telling you, it's madness. Group D, Benfica and Inter Milan have made their way in there. Who signed Arnautovic? It's Inter Milan, isn't it? Is that right, Danny?
They've brought him back after, I think, about 10 years. He used to be there.
Yeah, madness. Group C, Napoli and Real Madrid. And then our English clubs are in Group A and Group B. And it's Man United, Bayern and Sevilla against Arsenal. Pot 3 is about to be drawn. And in pot 3, we have Shakhtar Donetsk, AC Milan, Salzburg, who got through last year, didn't they? Braga, who I think went through last night. Lazio, who've had a tough start to the Serie A season. PSV, who obviously pumped Rangers yesterday. Red Star Belgrade and Copenhagen, which I went to about a month ago, and it was a delight. So here we go. Shakhtar Donetsk making their way out, but where will they land? As I said, pot 3 and pot 4, some big clubs in both. And of course, poor Alex will have to wait right to the end to find out which group he's going to be in. Okay, Shakhtar Donetsk.
Shakhtar always seem to get Real Madrid. They
do, don't they? Yeah, James, are you ready? Here it comes. Group G. Group G incoming. What are your odds? Tariq's called it. Has he called it, though? Here it comes. Abidal gently unscrews the ball.
They're Germany's 5th team, of course, this year, playing in Hamburg.
Yeah. Group H. Barcelona, Porto, and Shakhtar Donetsk. James, you dodged them this time for the first time. This isn't a real fact. In 15 years, you've dodged them at the group stage. That's it. That's incredible. That must feel great just to taste something different.
Yeah, it's always nice to dodge an opponent you've had many times before. I was just looking at that. I'm so happy that we've avoided Atletico and Real Madrid. Like, I think we're once again getting an easy group. Under Pep, it's been remarkable how easy it's been
It has
in the
been
group.
remarkable. That's right. Red Star Belgrade stepping forward. Vuj, my good friend, will be watching right now. Vuj, if somehow you're watching this, we wish you well. And hopefully you're going to get some good away days here, because there's nothing like our boy Vuj screaming into a camera when Red Star Belgrade win a football match, or at least score a goal. So we're going to find out which group they're going to be in. I tell you what, this is an away day, Alex, if you fancy this one. I've heard this is a wild one. But of course you're only going to find out because you'll be in pot 4, so it might be a little bit later on. There's a high likelihood. Group G, Man City have got Red Star Belgrade. Now there's an away day.
I put my list of kind of easy groups, and it was the easiest group we could possibly pull was Porto, Belgrade, and Lens. So we're getting there. We're getting there for the easiest group possible.
It's happening again. The barrage is on its way. PSV Eindhoven, brought out by Joe Cole. PSV Eindhoven looked really, really good yesterday. Mick Beale's Rangers getting a bit of dose of karma maybe there, Mick Beale. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm just neutral. So they've got De Jong, of course. And yeah, scored 5 goals yesterday in the game. Absolutely destroyed them. Really, really comfortable win for them. They will be in, again, obviously it's Champions League. You're going to have huge, huge teams everywhere. This is a big team to be in pot 3. Group B, Arsenal. PSV Eindhoven.
Happy for that.
Yes. Hey, Tariq, come on. Come on, Tariq. Come on. Come on, talk to me. You're feeling good.
This is the team
that's good, isn't it?
Definitely. This is the team we played last year in the Europa League, and they beat us when we played them in the second time. We had them in the group, but it's a weaker PSV side than we faced in the Europa League last year, who have lost Gakpo, looking like they could be losing Sangare, Bakayoko as well. So it's not too far to travel. It's a nice country for the away fans to go to in terms easy to get to as well. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's a good one. Yeah, you got a nice little trip to Sevilla, nice little trip to Eindhoven. It's not going to cost a silly amount. This is good, and these things matter. These things are important. PSV are out. They are in Group B, but who will Man United be getting? And who's just gone into Group F? I missed the team, but it was AC Milan. AC Milan. Okay, is that the group?
That is a Champions League group. That is a Champions League group.
The group of death or the group of F. Either way, it works. I'm just saying it's good. It's good wordplay from me. Is the important thing that we're talking about here. Right, Man United have surely now Salzburg, FC Salzburg, AA. Fancy that?
I'll take that. One of the energy drink teams. I'll take that.
Yeah. So we've got Salzburg, Braga, Lazio, and Copenhagen. Danny, let me ask you about Lazio, who are going to come out at some point. Is that one to avoid, or are they not that scary? Because they haven't started the season very well.
It's a hard one because I thought they looked very good last season, but they've obviously lost Milinkovic-Savic to the Saudi Pro League. They've brought in a few interesting faces, but it's not really clicking so far. They don't tend to do well in Europe, so it might be okay, but there's danger there, and Sarri is a good manager. I'm very positive on him, and I think it will click at some point. And as they come out the pot.
And that's Lazio. Yes, exactly. Have just made their way out of it. Immobile. Of course, Lazio finished second last season, but they only scored 60 goals. Immobile is their central striker. I was listening to the Italian Football Podcast, and they were saying how he is maybe a bit of a problem when it comes to the system. And Lazio themselves are struggling a little bit. Kamada has come in for them. He's the Milinkovic-Savic replacement. Is that right, Danny?
Yeah, very different profiles, but sort of guys you want in the final third. Milinkovic-Savic, bit more of a wins headers because he's just bigger than everyone else and stronger than everyone else. So we'll see how Kamada fits in. He's not really made any impact yet.
Okay.
But they've got a decent group themselves.
Yes. So yeah, Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid. And I will ask you, Rory. I promise I'll ask you that crucial question of what the happened at the weekend with them. But Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, and Lazio. There's a couple of teams still to come out. And Group A is one of them. Copenhagen. It's a midweek trip to Copenhagen for Double A. They've got lovely shops, great pastries, everything you'd need. How you feeling, Double A?
It's a shame they've changed their sponsor on it, because if Carlsberg did away days, obviously.
They should have been sponsored by Carlsberg, but it wasn't. Shame on you, Carlsberg.
Sorry.
What's up with them?
Shame
What's
on
up
you,
with them?
Carlsberg.
Braga made their way in
it's a
Group
good
C. Yeah, I think you need, because what you're wanting now, isn't it, is you want it to be very clear. Because often this can happen, and I think we will see this a little bit, is you generally have Champions League groups where, oh, it's those two. Oh, it's those two. And that can often be the case. But for you, hopefully, this will be exactly that. So you get a nice, easy one. Last up, Copenhagen, easy 6 points there. Bayern Munich can have a bit of fun with them, and you make your way through. I guess the only thing is, like, I mean, you're saying you're Vibes FC this year, so you're happy with the second place spot?
I think that's what we have to kind of aim for. You say we'll have fun with Bayern, they'll probably have fun with us, to be honest with you. I think it'll be the other way around. We'll be the little spoon, to be fair.
Right, I see what you mean. Right, here the time has come. Pot 4. I repeat, pot 4. And on the left-hand side of that is a team with a badge that has 2 seahorses on it and not 2 elephants, like I said on Sky Sports just a few weeks ago. But I was tired, and if you know the story, you know the story. If you don't worry about it. Newcastle United. The time is now, Alex. We are very close. You're about to find out who you're going to get. Who do you want to get, having looked at these groups as they've made their way out? It's on the screen now. Is there anyone you're after?
They're all brilliant groups, to be fair, and obviously we're limited by not being able to play English teams. So there's not loads of ones, but there's no group that scares me and think we can't get out of this. I think, for us, even finishing third would be something to keep playing Europa League football. So it's just a great draw so far. And listening to the guys, everyone seems pretty happy with what they've got. So hopefully all 4 English teams can have a route into the second round.
Indeed. So Group C, great point, because Group A and Group B, of course, you can't be in that one, and you can't be in Group G either. So it's Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, or Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund, and Milan. I had a stag do there at Dortmund. It was wonderful recently. Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, and Lazio, or Group C or Group D. Group C is Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga could be fun. Group D, Benfica, Inter Milan, Salzburg. Real Sociedad have made their way out of the pot. Ruri, they are pretty boring to watch, are they not? Am I right in saying that?
I quite enjoy watching Real Sociedad. I mean, they're kind of a bit of a weird team in that they're really good between like their own box and the opposition box, but as soon as they get into either of them, they can be a bit dodgy. So they're quite a good team to get in many senses. But La Real should be interesting this season because they've got Umar Sadiq, the big Nigerian striker, who it cost them about 27 million. He's the Alexander Isak replacement from Newcastle. So we'll see how he goes this season after missing the last one for an ACL.
Okay, Mikel Merino is the captain, isn't he? Plays in double pivot, and they've drawn their first 3 games as well. Low scoring, only conceded 35 goals in La Liga last season. Third best defense in the league. Have they come out? They have. Group D is gone, Alex. Group D has gone. So it won't be Benfica, it won't be Milan, it won't be Salzburg. Newcastle United are out. Here we go, Alex. Ah! Okay, E, F, or H. Here we go. Here we go. I'm excited. Do you know what? I haven't used this angle yet, but I'm gonna try and do it really quickly. Hang on. Go one-on-one. We want some Alex in our lives. There he is. Here we go. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Here we go.
Newcastle United will be playing in the Champions League this season, and they will be in Group F. Group F. Oh my word. Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle United. Alex, how are you feeling?
That's absolutely nuts.
That is nuts.
What? Three bigger clubs. Find me 3 bigger clubs. Yeah, unbelievable. Just what a story. What a story for us.
Absolutely incredible.
But also unlucky to those teams for getting us because we're class.
Yeah, I think that's it. When it comes to Group 4, that's what you don't want pot 4, sorry, is you do not want to be playing against these guys. Newcastle are such a tough team and could go really deep in this competition. There's absolutely no reason why they can't do that. Amazing stuff. So, Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle. Manu, let me come to you. Dortmund in there. Milan, we know, have started the season really well. Dortmund a little bit less so. But if Newcastle are trying to get into that top 2, do you think there's a possibility there, or does that feel like a bit of a stretch for you? How do you think? What do you think?
Oh, I think that teams that haven't played in the Champions League in a while usually find it tough. So I think the 2 favorites are probably Dortmund and PSG to go through.
Okay. Group A is finished now, and Double A, you will be up against... I think it's Galatasaray have come through. Is that right? It is Galatasaray. Yeah. Wow. Icardi. Zaha's return. How are you feeling?
He's due to give us one, isn't he? After what, a few years, 10 years ago or so. So, I mean, it's okay, isn't it? It's not bad. I'll take that. The Bayern Munich one, you start to feel the worst, don't you? You start to think, Milan are going to pop out, or all these teams. But I'll take that all day. I think that's a decent, and 3 good games at Old Trafford. I'll be there to watch them all. So, I'm happy with that for sure.
Really? Yeah. Do you know, I've got to be honest. I think that's nearly as bad as it can get.
I agree.
Tariq agrees.
That's the team I wanted to avoid. Going to Turkey, the atmosphere that they have there. Some of the team that they're building in Galatasaray, some good ex-Premier League players. It's going to be a tough
watch.
game.
Ten Hag's going to have the flag straight in the centre of the pitch.
He's going to soon-ess it. He's going to soon-ess it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay. Young boys have come out of the pot. That sounds weird, but it's not what you think. They're a football team. They've made their way out. Union Berlin as well have made their way out, and they are in Group C. Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, and Union Berlin. Manu, we'll get your thoughts on that in just a second. We're getting near the end now. Just a few groups left. Arsenal still need to find their 4th opponent in this Champions League draw. But Man United are sorted out. And of course, Man City are now sorted out as well. Man City have Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade. What is going on?
You know, we bought it. We just bought it. Let's just be honest. Come on. It's genuinely, it's one of those kind of dream groups where if you think you want an easy time, we're in an extra competition in the Club World Cup. It couldn't have gone any better, really.
Squad's a little bit thin. We sold Cole Palmer. We're not really sure why we've done it, but it was too much money to turn down. We're a little bit.
And they have the cheek. They have the cheek to boo the UEFA anthem as well. They have the cheek to do that.
True. Come on, I don't know. I'm trying to spin it in a way that makes it difficult, but that's a really easy group for a team from Man City's quality.
Yeah, that is ridiculously easy. You couldn't have written a better one for us.
That's amazing. How many with any of these other guys in your dream?
I had Red Star in the dream one, but Young Boys, Lons, the pot 4, they're all quite similar ilk of teams. But yeah, I mean, what is it? If we get through the group unbeaten, which I expect we should, it'll be the 3rd time in 4 years, no losses. So I can definitely see that happening again. Amazing. I think we've been blessed once again.
Okay, Celtic are in Group E. Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, and Celtic. Ruri, the time has come. We've been teasing it the whole time. Atletico Madrid won 7-0 at the weekend and had 44% possession. What happened in that game of football? And what's going on with Atletico Madrid? 7-0. You just don't see that, do you?
Yeah, listen, I mean, Atleti are the big dark horses for the title this season. They love a nickname in Spain, and it's been called Cholo Taka, which basically means just being really flipping fast with the ball, kind of 1-2 touch right up the pitch. They've got Antoine Griezmann, who, for my money, is one of the best 5 players in the world. He doesn't get a lot of press because he plays for Atleti, and they've been quite bad for like the last season or two, but they were the best team in La Liga from about January onwards last season. So I think they're going to be a handful for whoever they face, if it's in the group stages or the knockout stages.
Absolutely. So you'd expect them to kind of win that group. Let's have so what I'm going to do now then, guys, is we've got our groups here, and what I would like is if we sort of run through and have a quick chat about them, and Aaron's back, which is wonderful, so we can chat to you in a second, Aaron. Kind of work our way through the groups, and then what I would like is where you think you're going to end up. We want to do a bit of a prediction video now because I think it's got to be done, hasn't it? And also, when it comes to our league experts, an idea of maybe a bit of a shock and who's going to overperform, maybe underperform as well. So let's make our way through. Draws breath. Let's start off with Group A then. Manu, we've got Bayern, of course, in there, Galatasaray, Copenhagen, and Manchester United. How are you feeling about the German involvement in this group? Do you think would you expect them to top that group?
Yeah, Bayern have not been defeated in the games now. They have won 31, drawn 3, and they have won the last 13 group stage matches, which is a record. So I expect them to top that group quite easily.
Okay. Double A. How are we feeling? Where are Man United going to finish in Group A?
Well, I started off with the vibes SC. I'm coming with chess now. I disagree with Man United. We're going to top the group. They've sold the best defender that wanted to come to United in Pavard, so straight away they're at a loss. And the striker's going to have blisters every game from the boots, so he's not going to be able to score against us.
Okay.
United are going to top the group, I'm telling you. We'll top the group now.
No Skekker's deal for you. No Skekker's deal for you. No Carlsberg for me.
No.
Galatasaray in there as well. I think that's the one, in terms of names, I do think Galatasaray worth keeping an eye on because they've had a wild summer in terms of the players that they've brought in. Group B, Tariq, Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, Lens. Aaron, I will come to you in a second to ask about Lens and how you think they could do in this group. But Aaron, you wanted Bayern Munich, which I think is a lie. It's just a lie. I don't want to call you a liar because you're doing me a favour by being here, but that's a lie. So how are you actually feeling about Group B?
Me, you gotta be happy. You're not really going to travel too far, and Arsenal are definitely the favourites to finish top. I think Sevilla are going to do quite well to try and finish third in that group too. So yeah, definitely a good group where Arsenal can finish top and potentially get a good draw in the round of 16. But maybe I'm being a bit too arrogant there. So, but yeah, definitely a good group.
There's some banana skins in there. I mean, Sevilla in cup football are pretty strong. Quickly, Rory, actually, in terms of Sevilla, like I say, finished 12th last year, but obviously won the Europa League. The Champions League's always been a little bit of a step too far. Do you see anything different this year? Where do you see them finishing in Group B?
Well, they've just had their worst start to La Liga ever. They've lost their opening 3 games. It's been a chaotic summer. It's not gone well. Monchi, who's gone to Aston Villa, has left a bit of a mess. And Victor Orta, who's just left Leeds, is trying to clean it up. So yeah, it's all a bit chaotic at Sevilla. In Europe, you never know. I think they'll be happy with that group, to be perfectly honest. I think they'll count themselves as the second most experienced side. But third place surely is the best place they can finish, because then they'll go and win the Europa League again.
Yeah, if they want to win a trophy this year, the best thing to do is finish third, actually. You're right. In the chat, if you're watching right now, what I would love to see, who are the 2 teams that are going to make it through Group B? We'll do it through each group as well. Aaron, it's great to have you back, mate. Sorry I haven't come to you sooner. Lens, in that Group B, do you think they can cause a surprise here? Is it going to be as easy as Tariq thinks?
I'll tell you what, James, I think there can be a surprise. I can see Lens create maybe 1 or 2 surprises over the course of their games. It's not going to be easy. You know, they haven't been in the Champions League since 2002, 2003, so it's been a very, very long time. However, I think with the squad they have and the players they have now, and, you know, their manager, Hayes, who's done a really good job over the past 3 years, I think they can create a few surprises. So I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Okay, but give us your head prediction. Where are they finishing? Will they make it that top 2?
You know what? I'm gonna say Lens to finish third.
Third, okay. So heartbreak for Sevilla, who finished second in the group and make their way through. Amazing. Group C, Danny, Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, Union Berlin. All 3 of you. We've got a Spanish representative here. We've got an Italian representative here. We've got a German representative here. Let's battle it out then. Who is your top 2 when it comes to Group C, Danny?
I think it will Napoli and Real Madrid. The other two are decent teams, but lack of Champions League experience comes a lot into these sort of things. And Napoli and Real Madrid just have far vaster resources than the other two, and just their attacks will probably cut through. But it's great for Braga and Union Berlin back in the Champions League to have those two teams in their group, because wow, it's 4 great stadiums. I think. Oh, Napoli's is falling apart, but it's still like an institution.
For sure. Manu, I'll come to you. You say about Newcastle, the first year in the Champions League can be tricky. But do you expect the same for Union Berlin and their style?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, honestly, they're just in it for the ride, which makes them probably very dangerous, because they've been in it for the ride ever since they got promoted to the Bundesliga and took them to the Champions League. They're going to play all home games at the Olympiastadion in Berlin, so 75,000 for every game. It's going to be fun. I think they're just going to have fun, and if they finish top 2, great. If not, I don't think they were going to worry too much about it. I think Danny's quite right. I think it's going to be Napoli and Real Madrid.
Okay, and Real Madrid will definitely get through. Do you expect Real Madrid to win that group, Rory?
Yeah, I think they'll win it. I think they'll probably drop 3 or 4 points here or there. Real Madrid's, I mean, they kind of don't really care if the game isn't that much of an occasion. I almost think Union Berlin would be better off at Der Alten Fürsterei, because you'd want that kind of small, kind of tight atmosphere where Real Madrid will be uncomfortable.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Yeah, no, I've covered many games at the Olympiastadion for big events. It's a terrible stadium if it's not full, but if it's a big event stadium, and it's going to be rocking. 75,000 Union Berlin fans. I don't know if you want to deal with that.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, do you know what? Real Madrid, it feels like the group stage each year. You know, I'll probably get the names wrong. Like, did Bruges beat them? Like, there's a few sort of like, there's been some odd results over the years in terms of teams that aren't known for being, you know, Champions League powerhouses, let's say at least, and causing a bit of surprise. But Real Madrid generally seem to navigate the group well enough, don't they?
Yeah.
The people in the chat saying,
just if I can
jump
in very quickly there. Yeah, I was actually next to the Union Berlin fans for the Berlin Derby 2 seasons ago, I think it was. Got a lot of beer thrown over me because I was just over the fence on the Hertha side, and Union were having a good time.
Amazing, love that. Okay, you guys in the chat, you're saying PSV, and you were saying Arsenal will make it through from that group. Napoli, Real Madrid seems to be the consensus. Of a few people saying Real and Union. Mike Williams is saying that. Group D, we've got Benfica, Inter Milan, Salzburg, Real Sociedad. Who haven't we spoken about here? Inter Milan. Danny, do you expect them to be able to navigate this one? Who are your top 2 for this group? And I guess more importantly, where do you think Inter will end up?
I think Inter will themselves want to finish top of that group. I'm not too sure on how Benfica summer and stuff has been, but they were very, very good in the Champions League last year and just absolutely destroyed Juventus home and away. And for all the bad stick around Juventus, they would have had more points than Inter last year, if not for the points deduction. I don't love a lot of Inter's business, especially Jan Sommer for Onana is a bit of a downgrade. But I think they've just got enough in that group. I think Sociedad being in there is a bit of a sticky pot 4 team for the other teams involved.
Salzburg. Salzburg were in an easier group. That's the one thing I would say last year, but they did make it out of that group. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. Obviously, Inter Milan got to the final last year. Brozovic is gone. So big year for Çalhanoğlu as the man who kind of replaces him there. So big season for him. See what people are saying. Inter and Salzburg. A lot of people saying. Some people Inter, Sociedad, Benfica, Salzburg. In that order, says Patrick Van Stoken, not Van Straten. Group E: Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, and Celtic. Rory. This feels like an easy enough group for Atletico Madrid, in my opinion. I think with Lazio and where they are right now, they were running a little bit hot last year. Feyenoord, obviously, look, it was one of those groups that you kind of wanted to kick it off. But would you expect Atletico Madrid to win this group?
Yeah, in theory, they have to. I think it's a draw that they'll be reasonably happy with it. You could kind of look at it and say last year they struggled a lot against kind of inverted commas, smaller sides. I mean, Club Brugge really gave them a run around, but this kind of revamped Atleti have to be strong favourites. I think also what they will quite like is that, I mean, some of these sides will probably try and go after them a little bit more. If they're kind of playing on the counter attack against Atleti, that's where they struggle. So they'll like the likes of Celtic kind of coming onto them a wee bit.
Okay. Let's move on. Celtic, I think, will be happy with that group. I think they've got, give them a real chance, actually.
They had Lazio, and they had Lazio in the Europa League group 2 or 3 years ago and went away to Rome and won. So, and there are two fan bases that don't really get on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's a dangerous away day, essentially. Feyenoord's not the easiest, is it?
Yeah, last time Lazio fans came to Glasgow, they might have marched through the streets quite aggressively.
Okay. I'm not even laughing at that. But yeah, okay. So it's if you're a Celtic fan going to that, any of those away games, or any fans involved, stay safe. Group F: Aaron, PSG, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle. And Alex, get yourself ready because I want to hear how you've had 5 minutes to settle. So I want to know how you're feeling as a Newcastle fan. But Aaron, Paris Saint-Germain, who are they and what will they do in this tournament this year? So much change. We have Jeremy, who does the Euro show, who was saying this is the best transfer window that Paris Saint-Germain has ever had, which feels bizarre when you talk about the Mbappe saga. But, he's still there, still playing. What are you expecting from Paris Saint-Germain, both in this group, which I think is probably the group of death? I'd love to know everyone's thoughts if there's a different group that they think is harder than that. And how do you think they're going to get on this year in the Champions League?
I think they're going to get on quite well, to be fair. I would agree this is probably the group of death. Hardest group, I don't know, but it's definitely going to be entertaining. The games that we're going to see in this group, mouth-watering. That's what I can say. But PSG, I think they can go far. I agree with the fact that this is probably their best transfer window in years. Something I've said about PSG for a long time now is that I miss the idea of tapping into the French market, buying French talent, homegrown talent, and bringing them to the best club in France to carry on winning titles. And for years and years and years, they've had this Galacticos approach where they bought superstars and it's just not worked out. I mean, you look at the likes of Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. When they first all came together at the club, you looked at it and you thought, oh, this could be a force to be reckoned with in Europe. They could dominate Europe, and it just hasn't worked out. No. So for the first time now, they've had a different approach. They brought in French talent, obviously kept Mbappe, brought in Dembele. Barcola is going to sign soon. They brought in the likes of Lucas Hernandez. They really have a French core. And I think when you have that as the biggest club in your country, you look at different clubs in different countries. Barcelona has a Spanish core. Bayern has a German core. The biggest clubs in England have an English core. And PSG was actually the only club that wasn't doing the same thing in their country. So I'm happy that they did that. And I think with a manager like Luis Enrique, who's very big on discipline, who's very big on following instructions properly, I think they can go very, very far. So I'm looking forward to seeing PSG reach, I would say, at least the semi-finals.
Okay, brilliantly put. Well done, Aaron. Alex, okay, I'll give you my prediction on this in a sec, but I want to hear how you're feeling first. People in the chat, some people saying, look, second, third, or fourth. No one giving you the whole group, which I think is a little bit harsh. This is the group of death, isn't it? Would you agree?
Really hard group on paper. It's kind of sinking in that we've got one of the favourites for the whole competition in PSG. So it's really hard to finish above them. It would just be great. It'd be a great occasion when they come to St James's Park. And crucially, I've checked, we can fly from Newcastle to all three destinations.
Oh, really?
So buzzing about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, less miles on the road. But just getting out of the group would be incredible. I just think you've got to respect some of these teams, that what they've done in this competition in recent memory has been unbelievable. So just happy to be there. Just so pleased. Like, it's hard to make a prediction because we haven't played at this level before, and like the guy said earlier, it's tough for new sides. But I think we'll give anyone a game at home. I think we'll win a couple of games at home, and if you can get 6 points from 2 games, and you don't have to do that much more maybe to get out of the group. So just really excited, James.
Yeah, and God, so you should be. And if you're not going to be them, like, what is the point of all of this? This is an amazing group. And actually, I think the fact that first of all, there is nothing to fear when it comes to Newcastle because you finished third in the Premier League over 38 games. That's not a fluke. It's it's not. Cup competitions are different. This is a lot of pressure, and these are teams that are all used to playing Champions League football. Although I will say AC Milan haven't played loads and loads and loads over the last 5-6 years, but the last couple of years have got themselves back into it. Dortmund. As I say, I was listening to Manu, and Manu was saying how it's very sort of predictable at the moment, Dortmund, and they don't seem to have an ability to switch it up. Maybe that will come as games are played. And Paris Saint-Germain is a bit of a new project with a lot of new faces there as well, quality faces, but new ones as well. So I think it's massively, massively up for grabs. If I'm honest, I think Dortmund might finish bottom of this group, certainly with the feel that's there right now. Paris Saint-Germain, Milan and Newcastle, I then feel like it's a little bit up for grabs there, to be honest. Paris Saint-Germain should have the quality, especially if Mbappe's behaving himself. And Milan look really exciting with Pulisic and Rafael Leao. But that second spot's there. And like you say, I think if you can get yourself third spot, that's okay too, right? I think you're just excited for a nice, long European tour. That's the dream, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Milan homecoming for Tonali already. It's taken a few weeks. Yeah. That's going to be massive for him. But yeah, it's just a really exciting time for the club. And if we can get into 2024 still in European competition, I think all fans will be happy.
Amazing. Yeah, really well put. Alexander Isak as well. A little bit of reunion there as well. So yeah. Exciting times. Group G. Go on, tell me where you're going to predict though. Where you're going to finish though. First, second, third, fourth.
I'll go second.
Manu, super quickly. Where will Dortmund finish?
I think Dortmund will finish second.
He said he's backing his boys. I get it. I understand. Group G. The group of Jim. I don't even know what to ask you. Imagine if you didn't get through this group. What happens if you don't get through this group? There you go.
Just dissolve the club, really. We should get through this. I don't want to be as cocky to say we're going to win every single game. I can imagine a draw in there with Leipzig, and Red Star Belgrade. Probably not an easy place to go to in terms of the atmosphere, but in terms of the quality of team, we should be going over there and getting a win. And even Leipzig themselves, there's quite a lot of change. Obviously, we've pinched Gvardiol from them. Slobozai's gone. Kunku's gone. They got a kind of few sensible loans in with Fabio Carvalho and Xavi Simons. So a bit of change over there. So I would say that they're exciting. There's something to be looking forward to with Leipzig, but still a team that's had quite a lot of change over the summer. So if we don't win every game, I know it's very egotistical to say, but we should be looking to win every single game in this group.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. Manu, with Leipzig, is it one where our view of Leipzig last year is not the view of them this year? Do you really expect them to be much stronger than last year? Is it a big jump up for you?
They went to the Allianz Arena and smashed Bayern 3-0 in the Super Cup. I'm just saying.
No, that's fine. It felt like a full stop. I just wanted to make sure. That's good. Yeah,
this is a very, very, very good team. It's a very, very good team. Max Eberl, the sporting director, has done a fantastic job compensating for all those departures, and I think they're better.
Yeah, and I think the squad depth, again, I'm stealing stuff from your podcast, but what I found really interesting was like the depth that you've got there when I then had a look at that. And actually, you've just got a load of kind of wonder kids in there. They're all really, really young. That's the difference, isn't it? So it allows you to sort of win games late. That's going to be a huge thing for you guys this year. Is there any way Leipzig can win this group, or do you think it will be second spot for them?
It should be City first and Leipzig second, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And Group H: Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. Interesting one. It says, like, if you think of Barcelona last year, had that horrible group: Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. I think it was Bruges, might be the last team in there. Rory, how are you feeling about this one? Should this be, when you see Barcelona as a club there and obviously first seed as well, you expect them to win that group. Porto are always pretty sort of tough customers. I think Taremi's linked with AC Milan. Don't know if that's gone through yet or not, or is going to go through, but that would be a big loss. 22 goals for them last year. But Barcelona, again, similar question that I asked Aaron, like, the group and the tournament this year, Barcelona won La Liga. You know, they did better than Real Madrid. They did better than Atletico Madrid. Yeah, obviously it was so poor in the Champions League and got knocked out by Man United in the Europa League, so they didn't go deep in that either. What is the real Barcelona for you this year, and what do you expect to see?
Yeah, I think it's still somewhat in formation because we looked at kind of the Barcelona formula last season, and it was kind of Dembele and Lewandowski would create the danger up front, and then they would kind of be solid in midfield and at the back. But now you're looking at, if you're going to bring in Cancelo, that looks like it's going to go through. That kind of changes where they go at the back, because it's almost a three at the back with kind of Koundé, Araujo, and Christensen. But now with Cancelo coming in, it looks like they'll probably end up going back to a 4-3-3. But if they do kind of keep that midfield, there's so much kind of up in the air, and I think Xavi is almost kind of just waiting till the end of the transfer window, seeing what's available to him, and then he'll start kind of putting together a side there. Xavi likes a moan; he's not averse to it, and he's had a bit of a complaint about how bad the groups have been the last couple of seasons. I don't think he'll be moaning this year. And Joan Laporta, the president, he quite likes a party, and I think if you listen very carefully, you probably hear a couple champagne bottles or a couple cava bottles popping somewhere in Barcelona.
Okay. Final question for all of you. We'll run through one by one. I've got it here. I wanted like a bit of a shock exit, or where your team will finish and where people will be. So here we go. Shock exit, dark horse, and where your team will finish. We'll go through the clubs first. So I'd say we'll go the other way around. Double A. Shock exit when you're looking at those groups. Can you pick someone for me? Who do you think is going to be the shock exit? Let's call it now, and then you can clip it up and put it on Twitter when it works out.
Yeah. Shock exit, I think, could possibly be. Could be us, to be honest with you.
Yeah, mate, you've been all over the place here. Like vibes, chest, and now he's giving up. That's amazing. Okay, so dark horse. You going to say you as well?
Yeah, us as well. Yeah, no, Newcastle, I would say. Dark horse.
Okay,
sure.
Interesting. And then where will your team finish? Man United.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going there. Could be fourth, could be top of the group. I said before, I'm going to stick what I said. I think, realistically, we'll probably finish second in that group. I think
second in that
we'll
group.
Squeeze through. Yeah.
Okay, Tariq, shock exit. Who are you going for?
Ooh. But PSG haven't had a great start to the season, so you could say them, given the fact they're in that group. Just going for something different. Dark horse, could say Arsenal, but I think we could be a dark horse given the expectation around us. But I also think Atletico Madrid, they could be the dark horse this season. Not really amongst many people's favourites, and we've already heard from Rory that they are one of the dark horses for their league, so they could definitely do something in this competition with Diego Simeone. And we're Arsenal. I want to aim minimum for the semi-finals. That's what I want to do. So semi-finals.
Okay, James, shock exit.
Yeah. Tariq's kind of stolen all mine, so I'm having to on the spot take him. I'll go for Inter Milan shock exit. I just seeing Arnautovic back at the club's just not really a good sign for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine that they might slip up in some points. Dark horse, I would like to say Arsenal as well, but I do think that the kind of we saw in the season just gone that when the pressure really got to them, they did slip a little bit. But I do imagine that the group stage they'll do really well, and maybe the round of 16 they'll do. But when the real pressure's on, that's when we kind of might see some cracks. But I'm going to go Arsenal anyway because they are a fantastic side. And with City, I expect us to top the group and get to semis minimum.
Okay,
really
spot on. And Alex, shock exit. Who's it going to be?
I'll have to go for Milan because I think we're going to finish second, so they're going to get knocked out. Easy one there for me.
That's good. Dark horse?
Like the Arsenal, I can't disagree with anything said there. I think that group is so easy they'll be flying into the second round.
That's true. That's a good shout. And where are you going to finish? I think I've asked you this already, haven't I? But anyway.
Yeah, I'll stick with second.
Second place, great place to stick with, I think. Guys, I just want to say, whilst I've got them all on screen, they've all got channels, they've all got podcasts, they've all got links in the description. Guys, thank you so much I know your time is valuable. I can't thank you enough for getting involved. Absolute legends. Please let me know if I can help you in any way, shape or form. Thank you so much. Stay there just for a second, though, because you're going to muck up all my pictures. Love you, love you, love you. Go check them out. Please go check them out. Okay. Aaron, of the French side, actually, we'll do it this. So shock exit. We'll go general for those ones, and then what I would like is a bit of a French lean on some of your picks if possible. So shock exit. Who do you think that could be?
Shock exit for me, AC Milan.
Okay, we've got 2 for AC Milan here. Dark horse.
Dark horse, I'm going to go Newcastle.
Going to go Newcastle, okay. And then, so the Ligue 1 teams, Lens and PSG, where will they finish?
PSG will finish top of the group. And I'm going to say, you know what? I agree. I agree with, the comment that was made earlier. That Bayern Munich game really convinced me. I can see a surprise, and I'm going to say Leipzig to finish top of the group.
Leipzig. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What about Lens, though?
Lens, I think, will finish third.
Third,
drop
okay.
down to the Europa League. Yeah.
Right. Manu. Let's go through it. What? Shock exit.
I'm gonna go Napoli. I'm gonna say that Union Berlin are gonna surprise some people in that group, and I'm gonna say Napoli. My dark horse, Leipzig has kind of been stolen from me, so I'm gonna go with something completely different. Sevilla. They have that experience.
Got the pedigree.
And they have the pedigree. They have done it in the Europa League many times. At some point, that will translate into the Champions League. I expect them to go very deep.
That's a solid group, isn't it?
So,
as well. And then, so the German sides, where will all the German sides finish up? Let's go in order.
Well, Bayern will win all 6 games again.
Will Bayern win? Will Bayern win the whole thing?
It's a good question. I think they're aiming to win it not this year, the year after when they're hosting it, the final. Right. So I think they're kind of building towards that. Of course, they're always among the favorites to win it. And I think they finally got the number 9 that they need in Harry Kane. I think he fits perfectly to this club. And he obviously wants to win the Champions League as well. So, yeah, Bayern. Dortmund, I'm a little worried about, but I think they will just have enough to finish second. And Leipzig, they will finish second for sure. And Union Berlin, of course, is going to be a complete surprise package.
Okay, love that. Amazing stuff. Rory, let's go for a shock exit. What are you saying?
Shock exit. I'm going to go Milan as well. Sorry for the Rossoneri, but I just like the other teams in the group more than them.
Okay, and dark horse.
Dark horse, sticking with Atleti. Cholo Simeone and Antoine Griezmann have won me over in the last 6 months. I think they're going to be a real force this season.
Okay, and so we know about Atletico Madrid. We think they're going to do well. Real Madrid, how are they going to do? Where are they going to finish? Do you think they'll go all the way?
They'll top the group. I think, depending on the draw, they'll hit the quarterfinals or the semi-finals by sheer force of Bellingham, but they might struggle. I think they're just missing 1 or 2 pieces this season.
Okay, Sevilla in Group B.
Sevilla, I think we're going to finish third with Sevilla. I think they should, in theory, be the second strongest team in that side, but the way they've started the season, the chaos at the club, I think it's going to be another messy one at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan.
Okay, Real Sociedad in Group D.
Real Sociedad, I think they are going to finish third as well. I think they will make they'll have a couple of good games, a couple of good results, but ultimately they've struggled in Europe as a whole. They were better last season, but first season back in the Champions League for a decade. I think they're going to finish third. They'll upset Salzburg, but maybe Benfica will be a touch too far.
And Barcelona, no excuses, got to win that group, right?
Got to win that group. Got to get to the quarterfinals, really, if their accountants have anything to say about it.
Right. Oh, interesting. Yeah, of course. And finally, Danny, the hero in the final hour, stepping in. What an absolute man you are! What a specimen. Let's go through your shock exit. Who do you think might get caught out?
I'm gonna go into Milan as well. I just don't really love a lot of their business. They've lost a really good goalkeeper. They've lost Brozovic, who kind of controlled a lot of games for them. And yeah, it just seems like Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez could have games where they cannot hit a barn door. So I think maybe that.
Okay, dark horse.
considering everyone else is so low on them, I'm going to say AC Milan.
Fire them. Fire, a good man like that. And yes, so then your teams. So Group F, you think Milan will get through that group? Second spot, you giving them that?
I'll give them top. I'm quite high on Milan.
Okay.
I think Mike Magnon's very good. Rafael Leao's very good. Giroud scores goal.
Yeah.
They've built out that squad, so yeah, I'm gonna back them.
Okay, Group E, Lazio.
Bottom of that group, I think.
Really, it's not feeling good there.
Yeah.
Okay, Inter Milan.
Maybe a slight Celtic bias coming into that.
Inter Milan. Oh, go on, Celtic. How are they going to get on?
Well, it's not been a great start to the season for them, and Brendan doesn't tend to do too well in Europe. But I think they should, just based on what's happened in the past with Lazio, if they can get a win out of them, I think third they would be happy with.
Okay, and I think that's your lot. Right, once again, exactly the same. All of the guys here have links in the description. Go check them out. YouTube channels, podcasts, Twitter accounts, websites, name a medium, they've got it. So please go and check them out. Guys, thank you so much for spending so much of your time. Absolute heroes. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And guys, finally, thank you so much for watching. Obviously, as you can see, a lot of moving parts, and the guys there, as I say, gave up their time. So do me a favor. If you're going to give some clicks away, don't worry about this channel. Go to those people. As I said, please head to the links in the description, and that's where you're going to get expert knowledge for all of those teams. Please go and support those channels. Thank you so much. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll try and do it again. I'm sure we will, because I did. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.